What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, man, I wanna speak on like some of the mixed messages that have been coming out about Caitlin Clark, and as far as like her return. Like early in the week or late last week, Stephanie White, Coach Stephanie White, made it seem like that, like maybe sometime this week, like Caitlin Clark would be back, right? And so people were saying that she would be back Tuesday, possibly be back Tuesday for the Dallas Wings. And then before the Dallas Wing game started, maybe even the day before, people was like, well, I don't think so. Well, she's definitely ruled out for that game. And so what I think happened is that they looked at this schedule, the next two games. You had the Dallas Wings and you had the Washington Mystics. And so with their record, I think they were like 18 and 14. And with their record, they was like, okay, at worst case scenario, we will split, which you got two teams that are like at the bottom of the league. So they could have possibly, the Indiana Fever could have possibly won both of those games. But it didn't work out like that so far. Like last night they lost to the Tuesday night, which was last night. They lost to the Dallas Wings in a close game. And so now, you got the Mystics coming up, and it's not really, I mean, it's not an automatic, it's not a given that the Indiana Fever will be able to beat the Mystics. And I say that because of what I seen yesterday against the Wings. Like they really need a point guard. Caitlin Clark is like the closest, she's like the one who has the least amount of injury, you know what I mean? Like she's closer to recovery than everybody else. So she would be the one, who people would think would be next, to come back and help the team. Because of what I seen yesterday from Indiana, they have a hard time really getting into their offense. You don't have a pure point guard out there, or anybody who can distribute the ball, and so it makes them hard. It makes it hard for the Indiana Fever to get in any type of rhythm. I think at one point in time, the Dallas Wings was up by 15. And so and with the Dallas Wings, the game should not have really even been. The Fever should not have even been able to get back into the game if the Dallas Wings seemed to me like they took their foot off the gas, like early in the fourth quarter, and then allow the Fever to go on to a run. Even when the Fever was going on in their run, it was situations where Dallas like may have turned the ball over, or they may have had a lapse in defense, something like that. But it wasn't like that all of a sudden Indiana got into a rhythm, and then took back control of the game, and so with that being said, I just think that without a pure point guard, I think it's going to be hard. This right here may prompt them to rush back Caitlin Clark, because you don't want to, if you're the Indiana Fever, you don't want to fall out of playoff contention, right? If you and then on top of that, you don't even want to be in a situation where you back into the playoffs. Say if you stick to your guns and you say, well, I'm not going to play Caitlin Clark. We're gonna stick to our guns, and if we make it into the playoffs, we make it. If not, and you back into the playoffs, then you have a situation where Caitlin Clark is going into the playoffs and she's rusty. So if she's going into the playoffs and she's rusty, and you wind up losing in the first round anyway, then what's the point? You're better off just trying to hopefully get Caitlin Clark back ready before the playoffs so she can get into a rhythm, and so she can develop, get that chemistry back with her teammates. But it's without a point guard in there, man, and you got Kelsey, You got Kelsey Mitchell in there, and Kelsey Mitchell seemed like she really couldn't get hot. She hit a couple baskets down the stretch, but she really couldn't get hot at all. Like with the first 3 quarters, she wasn't as effective as she needed to be. And that right there to me proved, like, the way I seen Kelsey play yesterday, and not just yesterday, but a few of those games, if she don't have a point guard with her, a good point guard with her, she can't be your number one. She needs somebody who can run the team and be a distributor. She's not going to be a number one. She's not going to. She's not that great a passer, far as like setting up her teammates and stuff like that. That's just not her. She's a scorer. That's what Kelsey Mitchell is a scorer, and so they really do need a point guard. They need Caitlin Clark to be back, and so yeah, I think it's really, in my opinion, just bad news when you have you got Caitlin Clark sitting over there, and and she can't really help the team. Just really, no more than just really being a cheerleader. And so I'll be curious to see, like, after this week, if they bring Caitlin Clark back, like if the Fever lose to the Mystics on Friday, I want to see if that will prompt them to bring Caitlin Clark back sooner, because that'll be 2 losses in a row. Let me see, they were 18-14, now they're 18-15. And so they could be falling out of the they don't want to miss the playoffs. They want to keep it close and maintain their league. But yeah, what happens Friday, I think, with the Mystics will really tell a lot as far as will the Fever be able to keep Caitlin Clark out. In my opinion, I would keep her out as long as possible, just to make sure that she's she's good when she come back. And even I would even risk missing the playoffs, because you just can't think about this year. You got to think about the future, and then you have to take into account somebody as competitive as Caitlin Clark. Like, she may put pressure on the team to bring her back. She may feel like she's well enough to come back. So you got to think about that type of situation too. Caitlin Clark putting pressure on the coaching staff and the medical staff, telling them that she feels good enough with, though she can come back and contribute to the team. I'm sure she don't want to miss the playoffs, especially if she don't have to. If she can come back, she can help the team. But they don't look good, you know what I mean? Like, their offense really don't look good without a point guard. Without Caitlin Clark in there running that point, they really don't look good. It looks like they don't have any rhythm, and it looks like at times they're taking turns scoring. Like, sometimes it'll be what's the young lady? It'll be Kelsey Mitchell. Sometimes it'll be Natasha Howard. And then on top of that, you need a point guard, because you have sometimes you have Sophie Cunningham, who is, you got to be able to get her the ball in her spots. Then you got Lexi Hall. You got to be able to get her the ball in her spot so she can operate. And if you're not a pure point guard, you don't, that's a pure point guard understands that. And a pure point guard can keep a whole team, keep the whole offense in a rhythm. And they don't have that without Caitlin Clark. They don't have that rhythm, where though you got those weapons out there, but you don't have anybody out there that know how to use those weapons. And it showed, like Lexi Hall, Sophie Cunningham, they wasn't in a rhythm. Natasha Howard, she wasn't in a rhythm. And Natasha Howard, man, she needs a point guard, because number one, she's not a ball handler. So in certain situations and certain spots on that court, you don't even want Natasha Howard to handle that basketball. And it was a couple times that Natasha Howard had the ball, and she was like for my comfort, she was too far away from the basket, to operate and to be an effective, consistent score or threat to score at least. And so they need Caitlin Clark back, man, as soon as possible, because if you don't have a point guard in there, somebody who knows how to use those weapons that you have, like I said, Sophie Cunningham, could have had a better game if they would have had a point guard, somebody who could have been able to hit her where in areas where she was comfortable. Same thing with Lexi Hall, but yeah, they really need Caitlin Clark back in there. And so that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'll check you all out in the next episode. Peace.